Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the College Football UK podcast brought to you by the AAW Network. I am your host, Fletch. And as always, I am joined by my two wonderful main co-hosts, Garrett and Sam. How are we, gents?
Looking good, feeling good, looking good, enjoying the festivities. Hope everyone's well.
Yeah, all good.
Gotta say, Sam's just nodding. Will be
I'm just not, yeah. For the
I'm all
for
right,
those
man.
for those of you on audio only, Sam nodded. Yeah, for the benefit of the tape.
as was reported earlier by a wonderful journalist on the ground. There have been some roster changes for this week. Nick is inactive due to prior commitments, also known as being at the Manchester City game, which Manchester City are winning 2-0 right now.
Should be down to 10 men.
But
Moving on.
prior to that, we already had arranged a roster move in which we have elevated Adam from College Football UKView to the active roster. Sir, good to have you back.
Thanks for having me back, gents. Good to be back. I think it's been a few weeks actually. I think I was on here making Halloween gags last time I was on, so it's a little bit early for Christmas gags, so I'll just leave it be.
I disagree.
Disagree. It's never
But
too early for Christmas gags.
this is technically officially our last episode before Christmas. So
Yeah.
But now's
just
your
saying,
opportunity.
I'll try and
if
muscle
one
some up.
So try
if
and
one
squeeze them in as we go through. Yeah.
if one does so happen to slip in or slip out, that is your prerogative.
Do my best.
So the reason we have got you back as well for the primarily is because it is the college football playoffs starting this weekend, and your Oregon Ducks just so happen to be one of the teams selected by the committee. There's another reason why we didn't really want Nick on because his team hasn't been selected by the committee.
My team's
Uh,
not been selected. Hang on.
well,
Is
no,
any
was it
team
neither of
other?
all of us?
Hang on. Wait. Has any of our teams other than Adams been selected to play in?
This is a good point, Adam. This is your episode. We won't talk for the rest of it. Go.
I'll just
Oh,
take it
Um,
from here.
yeah, over to you, mate. Off you go.
See you later.
But we are here. We are here to talk about the college football playoffs, primarily the first round. We've also got a little bit of Army Navy, some LA Bowl, and there's been a couple of the bowl games that have happened, will happen over the next few days before you hear from us next. Might get into a little bit of that, but it's mostly going to be the playoffs because let's face it, that's what all of the eyes are realistically on right now. Before we get into it, don't forget to join us, follow us and the AAW network on the social medias, join our free to join Discord server, and you can find all of the relevant links and information in the description below this episode. All of the links are below our gorgeous faces if you are watching on YouTube, and if you are listening on Spotify, Apple, or any other audio based platform, you will find them inside your app. As and when you got, I feel like I sound like one of those air hostesses as I do that
Yeah, yeah.
towards the end there.
You need to do, and the exits are here, here, and
Yes.
here.
Um. So, yeah, if any of that, as I've done for the last couple of episodes, do want to do one thing. The numbers this podcast has been doing for the last few weeks has, and continually since we started, the numbers that have grown week on week on week on month on month have been staggering, and we are also very, very, very grateful. And what we'd love to see from you, if you do listen, is to turn them into following us on social media and engaging with us on social media.
We
Please, if
don't
you are
bite.
listening on audio only platforms, drop us a like, drop us a review. It doesn't have to be 5 stars. If it's 1 star and you don't like us, tell us why. We'll cry for a bit. It might ruin Christmas, but we'll appreciate you taking the time out to do that.
And we'll get rid of Fletch if we can.
Yeah, that might be the best option, to be fair. However, by the way, I've just on that kind of topic over the last couple of weeks when we did the episode, the emergency episode after the selection, and obviously that episode did, particularly on YouTube, did a little bit better than other episodes previously tend to do because I think we just hit the algorithm at the right time. We've had some wonderful responses and comments on that video and subscriptions on the AAW YouTube channel, and it's been really, really nice to see how excited people are to see people like us talking about college football and um obviously there are a number of other great British people talking about college football as well. We're not the only ones. There are, and there's a reason why Wembley is going to be filled in September, and that's because there's a great
Huge
community
news.
for it over here. So please, if you are from the States and you are looking to hear our accents talk about college football, there are plenty others that you can also sink your teeth into. Anyway, couple of bits of news.
And breathe.
Couple of bits of news that have come out over the last couple of weeks. Over the last week, there is no Nick, so there is no Nick's news. Couple main pieces, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw to Sam's supplement, see if Sam has got anything for us at this moment in time.
No, I think most of the stuff I have is more just like most of the stuff I've seen is more just like transfer portal-y sort of things. And obviously, I know we're gonna maybe do a little bit of that at a later date. So I don't particularly want to. There's nothing else of note.
Yeah, we'll end up talking about that in just a minute, I fear. Gary's Gazette. Has
Your-
anything hit Gary's Gazette?
The only thing that kind of crossed my path, talking about activating the Kingdom and the Union Jack Classic. I don't know if anybody noticed it, but the Union Jack Classic have partnered with the BAFA official, the British Association of Football America at university level. A great tie-in. They're now the official partners. So looking to make the first ever college football game at Wembley next season, massive event, and tying in with BAFA official is a great way to ensure that the next generation of fans get on board early. So that's the only news that caught my eye this week.
Yeah. Don't forget, I want to say, like, what surprises some people is we do have university level football. We do have college football.
A lot of players.
Okay.
A lot of players play it.
In the Bucks League, and when I was at the University of Salford, I don't even know what their team's
You at the
called.
bar.
Yeah, I was mostly at the bar, to be fair. To be fair, I mostly wasn't there, really. I was I was being
Manchester Storm, wasn't it?
college student, turning up completely sober all the time, at every given opportunity to be sober and on time. I was
Never missing any lectures on the Monday
never,
morning
not
at all.
one,
No,
not a
never.
single one. I can't even remember what I studied anymore. I do remember, but it's massive, and obviously it's not to the level of audience or anything like that the US gets, but it does exist, and it's really, really cool to see partnerships like that come into play. And the NFL Academy already does so much. It's nice to see other things getting involved in the college football world. Obviously, last week the news broke on episode. My reaction to this news was not appropriate for what ended up coming out within a couple of hours after that. As I ran around my bedroom, throwing my hands in the air and being very, very joyous of the occasion. Sherrone Moore was obviously fired by the University of Michigan with cause for an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. He was subsequently arrested. In fact, to be fair, if you look
I
at
think
the
he was
actual
arrested
timeline,
at
he
the
was
sort of
arrested
before, wasn't
before
he?
it was
Yeah.
announced. However, it all didn't come out until about an hour or two later that he was arrested for turning up at his family home, having an argument with the wife. He was suicidal. He then went to the other female's house, um, claimed that it was her fault and she'd ruined his life, and that he was going to commit serious harm upon himself, um, in front of her and make her watch and things like that. This is all came out at the arraignment that happened on Friday, where he was charged with 2 misdemeanors and a felony, which included breaking and entering or entering without breaking.
Stalking was one of them, wasn't it?
And stalking was one of them. Stalking and harassment, yeah. What has come out has just been it's been a very, very, very sad situation that's unfolded. And while I would not particularly want to give certain individual in that too much of my sympathy, it's just a very sad situation, and someone needs a lot of support before they face their next hearing, which is on the 21st of January. A lot of articles have gone up on the AAWnetwork.com website, so please go check some of them out. I'll put some things out there outlining it all. I don't want to bang on about it too much. So that's anything else you want to know on it, please go and just check them articles, because I think I've tried to cover as much as I can, as up to date as possible. But now it's just a case of Michigan finding their head coach, and that's what I am focused on, not on.
Who did I see getting bandied around? No,
Who,
it's
who
parody.
haven't you seen get bandied around is the
No,
question.
sorry, it was a parody. It was a parody account I saw getting bandied around, and I won't give it the time of day. But it amused me initially, and then I was like, oh, I'll mention that, and I thought, no, I won't.
Yeah, and it's going to be
Um,
inevitable for the next month, isn't it? Because it's such a marquee job
Yeah.
in the Big Ten and college football that everyone is going to be linked to that job.
yeah. Well, I've seen Kenny Dillingham. We've seen Jed Fish, who apparently today was ruled out, or last night was ruled out of it. He didn't. Um, I've heard Nick Saban, I've heard Kirby Smart, we've heard Kalen DeBoer was a large, widely reported target.
Who,
But
who's the Ohio State coordinator? I saw
Heartline.
his name, but he's gone somewhere else. I'd
oh, I
seen
think
his
I know what
name.
you mean. The offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
Brian Heartline.
He'd been hired a couple of weeks ago anyway by I think it was
yeah, but
North
for some
Texas.
reason they then started banding his name about, which I thought was weird.
Um, but in the interim, Biff Polge, who you might know from his 2 games where he was interim earlier this season, um, he will take over in the meantime. There is no rush. We've got a game against some little school in a bowl game on the 31st of December. So there's no real rush to get it in before then.
Yeah,
Um,
you're gonna get schooled in that game anyway, so like we did last year. So yeah,
um, but no, they've got the Cheez It Bowl, and I think it's yeah, I would say I'm not going to get too much into what the roles and responsibilities of everyone involved are now, but Biff Poggi is taking over in the interim, and I love that man. Not enough to wanting to be head coach, but I love that man. He's brilliant. The only other really bits of news that are coming out at this moment in time are because of the time of year it is transfer portal and draft declarations are coming out. Jeremiah Love has declared for the draft. I thought that would have been inevitable as a top 4. I think it's
so
big
so's
finish.
No brainer, really.
so's his running back partner
Oh,
Price as well. He's now declared for the draft.
like
Yeah,
the 2 from Penn State, they must have probably come near enough ready to go as well. But yeah, no brainer that
yeah.
Jeremiah Love's going to
I
declare as
mean,
soon as possible, as close as he got to the Heisman. I'm sure we'll
Mm.
get onto that as well. It's
your stock isn't going to get
declare
much higher than
early.
that.
Not going to get higher
Yeah,
than this, is it? Declare early, get as high up that draft as you can.
I think
Yeah,
there's
There are
also
plenty of teams that are going to need a decent running back, and he is a very good running back.
very good running
there's
back.
also not as many. There's not as many competitive running backs in terms of level
Yeah,
compared to them this
last
year.
season was quite heavy, wasn't it? He had a few
Mm.
come out last year, but this one is
yeah,
it's I know last season Genty was still declared number one. However, there were a lot of good twos, threes, and four. They weren't that far back. This year, it's pretty much his head, shoulders, and
Mm.
an awful lot of torso above everybody else. So, you know,
yeah.
be interesting to kind of wonder where he'll go. Will he go top 10? Probably not. But
That's
anyway, we'll
always the
get into that
question, isn't
later in
it?
the season.
I
Yeah.
mean, when you take into account running back value in the draft, and that's something we're probably going to get into over the months where we've got bugger all to talk about before the draft. We'll be talking about how these things will end up playing out and draft value and position and all that sort of stuff that we'll get into. But yeah, players like that are declaring for the draft. I haven't seen too many. It's not where I've been kind of focusing on. What I've been looking at is some of the stuff coming out of the transfer portal, in which DJ Lagway,
Yep.
Dylan Raiola, Aidan Childs, Brendan Salisbury, what's his face out? Not Drew. I was going to say Drew Mestermaker. It's not Drew Mestermaker. East Carolina QB.
South
I
Carolina.
named him the other
South
day.
Carolina?
Caton Hauser. Caton Hauser. Um, Caton Hauser, Nick Marsh have all hit the transfer portal. There's some big names in there. Um, some great prospects and some who will be looking to push on to get higher up the draft boards, potentially get more in NIL money. Sam Levitt has also been a name that's heading to the draft.
Mm.
So unfortunately, we
Yeah.
won't see him in London next year.
See,
Unfortunately, he might end up in the same sort of similar kind of colours. I've been hearing a lot of rumours that he might be going to another team that plays in sort of garnet and gold, which I feel sorry for him if he does that.
CJ Barker's declared as well. So looks like we're moving on from that
Yes.
mess of a running back situation. I think there was quite. I mean, we've had loads of people declare for the draft.
Oh,
I think I've had a constant flow coming from my Instagram of just he's going to the transfer portal. I'm pretty sure we've had. I want
sure.
to say a good number of like a good in close to 20, if not.
Yeah.
I think there's been
I've been the same for the Seminoles. I've seen I think our tight end, the running back, linebackers. They seem to, I mentioned it just before we jumped on air. It's like rats from a sinking ship at the minute. There seems to be an awful lot of committing to the portal going on. Granted, that's we've had signing day as well, which everyone was jumping. Yeah, we signed for 26. It's like, it's great, but what about everyone who's jumping ship? Seems to be a
yeah.
lot of starters and a lot of kind of high star sort of recruits from last season. A lot of 3 and 4 star sort of running back has just declared for the transfer portal and stuff like that. So that's a worry from a Seminoles perspective. But
But at
it's
least
that
it's
time,
early
right?
though. At least it's early for the Seminoles though, that you find your floor
Yeah.
and then you can build and you know where you are hopefully through the spring.
I
Rather
think that's the thing though, right? With the new transfer portal being one and done, I think a
yeah,
lot of teams and a lot of players have to kind of go, guys, sorry, I'm leaving. Maybe even if you're in a bowl season, if you are playing, you've
Yeah.
got to kind of go, I'm going
And
to the portal because I need to be ready for next season. It's a
and
weird
and
scenario.
it's not just the fact that it's one and done, it's the timing of it. Obviously,
Mm.
it shuts, the national championship takes place right smack bang in the middle of the transfer portal.
yeah,
So
Mm.
like that, if you are a team like Oregon, for example, who are looking at a playoff run, any player who wants to go has to make a decision while you're preparing for a playoff run, and that is not a good place to be for Oregon and for the player who may or may not want to. Uh, uh, they might want to
yeah.
see out as much as they
Everyone gets
can,
forced into
but
some decisions. Yeah,
yeah, the
Yes, I think it's especially for those playoff teams. They're having to they're having to have their head coach is essentially having to like work on two fronts and two very important fronts. It's not just a case of you know there'll obviously be more than just the head coach involved, but it's still the head coach is then responsible because he's going to be the one that everyone turns to if the transfer portal goes wrong, and they're
Yep.
going to be the first one to be turned on if they don't do well in the college playoff. So yeah,
yeah
it's a difficult position, and especially for those who because as well you think a lot of these teams, especially if they then don't start if they potentially don't get to the final, they've lost so many days on those teams who were maybe just outside of the playoffs because now they're trying to compete with the same teams, but they're weeks behind. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah
it's such a difficult position to be in. I would have liked to have seen the poll opened after the championship for the same period of time, just a bit later, because then it gives players a little bit more time to
Focus
relax
and finishing the season,
before
and yeah,
finish the season, relax if they're not in the national the playoffs, and then make a
yeah
decision afterwards.
yeah. Where it gets messy as well this year, you think about all the head coach change we've had with a lot of OCs and DCs filling those roles. I mean, you take Oregon, our OC and DC are staying for the playoffs, but then they're off. And those both of those roles play quite a heavy role in the recruiting and all of that side as well. So you must have all of this carnage going on while you're also trying to focus on a playoff run.
yeah.
It's
Mm.
very
That's
messy.
that's a brit that do you know what? Honestly, I think that's another excellent point that needs to be discussed. And we aren't going to be the first to discuss it. We won't be the last, and it won't be the last time ever that this problem comes up. Even Nick Saban was talking about it. What was it last week, the week before? The whole coach. There needs to be a window for coaches to come and go. There needs to be a window for the calendar is so messed up and in such a weird. Once you hit November, like halfway through November, everything starts to get the whole between
Mm.
November and January. It's a really weird, awkward, and horrible time where anyone can get up and go at any point, and it's messy and it's
Which is
silly.
bizarre because then, and it's bizarre because from what middle of January or end of January even until the start of the next season. We've got months where very little kind of goes on.
Yeah,
And that's
like
the weird part, is that it's like you've got so many months where things could easily be backfilled just to extend it. I mean, it's not like it's interfering with much else. I mean, yes, you have the NFL playoffs and all of that, but realistically, you've got, once that happens at end of start of Feb, you've then got 2 months until the draft. So it's not like they couldn't patch it out a bit.
Yeah.
It's just they just seem to force it all into 4 months.
why not just have the one transfer portal be the April one as well? Like, because then
Yeah.
you've got all your coaching changes and everything like that's out the way and done, and players could have made a rational decision based on 2 months of spring. I know there's spring games going on during that time, which again is a bit daft, but like,
Yeah.
at least then you've got chance to have, if your team's got a new head coach, you've had time to sit and spend time with and train that new head coach and all those different things before just saying, nah, head coach, I'm out, I'm gone. You've had time
Yeah.
to, and please don't make those rash decisions based on X has gone, so I'm leaving. Because you
Don't like
never
you
know.
for
The guy who
over.
comes in,
Yeah.
you might end up clicking with anyway. Um, okay, these are conversations I think we're going to have in abundance over the next
Oh,
few
we're
weeks.
definitely we're going to have to save this because, as you say, we've got weeks where we can talk about no games and whatever, and this is the kind of stuff
Yeah,
where we could really delve into the nitty gritty of some of the idiosyncrasies, I suppose, of the college football calendar and it being so condensed and yet so spread out in time. It's like,
yeah,
make it make sense.
Before we move on, just the one last bit of news that I had was that Ohio University have fired Brian Smith
yeah. Oh yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
for
His
engaging
conduct.
in serious professional misconduct and participating in activities that reflect unfavorably on the university. They didn't actually provide what it was that he's actually been fired for, just
Yeah,
that they've said that it's that. However, his attorneys come out and basically said that they plan to fight it and said that it's a wrongful termination. So looks like we're going to be seeing another university go through a long, arduous process of he said, she
He
said.
said, she said.
yeah. He was been on administrative. Well, he's been on leave since the 1st of December. This has been a weirdly drawn out process anyway.
Gardening
The
leave type thing, is it?
speculations are obviously out there, and as I've learned, well, I would say I haven't learned it this week, but as I've had to remind myself multiple times this week, be careful what you read on the internet. Because if you believe what you would read on the internet, Kirby Smart's taking the Michigan job tomorrow. I'm stupid, but I'm not that kind of stupid. Um, I don't think he's good enough for that kind of job. He's not good enough. The only other piece of news I think we need to just one more is on Saturday. This little ceremony happened in which Fernando Mendoza became part of the fraternity that involves in 91 others, 56 whom are living as a Heisman Trophy winner. Correct decision?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, very well deserved, I think, from what he's managed to do with that team,
Yeah.
the big moments he's had throughout the season and where they're currently sitting, where that team's sitting now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have no complaints
Absolutely.
whatsoever.
No complaints. Absolutely none at all. I mean, I know we've talked about previously the Heisman becoming just a QB award and whatever else. And yes, that's likelihood in college football is always going to lend that itself. But as Adam says, what he has done, how he has lifted that team, that is exactly what a Heisman Trophy winner is supposed to be. And he has done that for that team.
Yeah. There is one person who disagreed very,
Of
very
course there is.
vehemently and very vocally on his Instagram story on Saturday night/Sunday morning. That was Diego Pavia, who went out
Mm-hmm.
clubbing on
Very Johnny
Saturday
Manziel.
night. Put up a story. Johnny Manziel, by the way, who is a close confidant of Diego Pavia,
You can
um,
tell.
put out a picture. Well, had a sign at the club that said "F Indiana." Put on his Instagram stories. Therefore, all the voters, 100 or so of which voted him to win. By the way,
Yeah.
all the voters. I didn't expect him to do the maths though of like deducting the number of ones who voted him from the
Yeah, that
number
would have.
of
Yeah, I mean, he has been in college a while, so he probably should be able to do the math. But
yes.
yeah, it wasn't. It's not. We've talked about your stock's not going to be much higher after the Heisman sort of event and whatever else for Jeremiah Love. That's not going to do him a world of good going forward.
Yeah.
The intangibles haven't gone up, have they?
No, no.
No.
There's a few extra red flags been added to his file from any scouting,
I,
you know,
I think
organization.
you've got going into that Heisman, you had two underdogs who've overcome the odds, really stepped up and put their team on their back. I know, well, you've had Kurt Signetti as well in Indiana, who, by the way, absolutely rightly was won like coach of the year in various phases. You had two very different styles of underdog story, overcome all the just overcome the odds to be where they are at, and then Fernando Mendoza's doing this really wonderful, humble speech, and Diego Pavia is doing that. You've kind of gone from this lovable rogue to a
Cheeky chappy rogue to a spoiled brat,
yeah,
kind of quite quickly, haven't you?
and it's sad to see, but I don't want to dwell on this too much. At the end of the day, Fernando Mendoza, the right man, won the Heisman Trophy. Diego Pavia came second, Jeremiah Love came third, and Julian Sayin came fourth, I believe, out of the four. And it was a landslide as well. I think Pavia had about 130 odd votes. Mendoza had 450 odd votes. Wasn't close.
Yeah.
Unlike last year, where Travis Hunter and Ashton Genty were extremely close, this one wasn't particularly close. I do want to get on to, so we can start getting onto the real chunk of it, though. Did anyone watch Army versus Navy at the weekend? I got a bit of it in.
Yeah, caught some of it.
Caught some of it, caught the end of it. Didn't really see much of it, but bits of snippets as and when you could.
What did you think of
a
it?
game that you expected, a proper fight.
Yeah.
Just a proper fight between two academies that just don't like each other. But you could tell. I think the best team in the end came out on top.
Yes, Navy won 17-16. What did you think of the game, Adam?
So I mean, even taking a step back before that, just the pageantry of that game with all of the pomp around it, president turns up, coin toss, all of that kind of stuff. It was just like a nice occasion to watch. The game itself, as Gary said, was an all-out battle, a war between two teams. Army seemed to be getting their noses in front, went into halftime a little bit ahead. Navy turned it around. Go ahead touchdown, middle of the fourth quarter. I think what
on
stood
the
out to
fourth
me,
down,
though,
wasn't it?
yeah, and a few wrinkles here and there as well in that little drive. When I looked at this, I think there were only 24 passing attempts all game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
both hit about 50%. Army 5 of 10, Navy 7 of 14, which tells it sort of was it
battle in the
unstoppable
trenches,
force
right?
versus immovable object. It really was one of those games where they were just battering each other on the ground.
I think
But
Horvath was the difference, though, wasn't he? The Navy
Yes.
quarterback. The Army couldn't quite pin him down. So
couldn't quite pin him down. He ended up with 107 yards, didn't he? Topped out the rushing there. Was I think even the Army QB might have been their top rusher as well. So again, there was just a lot of the front line doing their job and QBs looking for the holes. It's one of those weird ones. It's an entertaining. The 17-16, you see that and you think, but actually it's quite entertaining to watch in terms of the back and forth of it and that battle element. It's not one you would put a neutral in front of.
no, it's not an advert for
it's not
it's not an advert for college football. You'd want one of those 45, 43
I think
barnstorming back and front, but this is
depends what you're after. If you're after on field, all that, like all if you're after the game, no, you wouldn't. But if you're after going someone and saying, but take in the pageantry and just what college football means, what encapsulates college football in that sense of everything off field. That is the
Yeah.
perfect game. But
Yeah.
yeah, on the field, you're absolutely right. It's goddamn terrible. Don't do it. Don't do it to anyone. And it was quite funny because like Helms had he only had 10 passing attempts, completed 5. And he did really well. It started off like 4 of 4, 5 of 6, and then just like just
Just decided, hang on,
nothing.
this is not our game plan. Hang on, this is not what we do.
Yeah, it was slightly different for Hovrath, who again had started off with 4 completions and then like had 5 incompletions. And in comparison to the 24 attempts in the air, there were 86 attempts on the ground. Right, it was just 24 to 8. There were 100 plays overall, 86. No, sorry, not 86, but
100 over
110
100.
overall,
Yeah.
86 of which
59 were between the two quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And
Hovrath went for 107 yards. Helms went for 100. So 207 yards overall were
2 touchdowns as well.
Yeah.
2 rushing touchdowns.
It was it was
one
not
for the
a game.
purists. One for the purists.
Yeah. But what you can say about this game that is absolutely a compliment is 4 field goals, all 4 were made. Perfect kicking game. No one missed a field goal, and that's what everyone really cares about.
That's what it's all about. That's all that counts.
What the fun is, yeah.
Kickers are people
Absolutely.
too, aren't they?
They are.
Because we're British, right? And we only care about kicking.
Well, listen, if you go to a pub in Mailbridge right now, all they care about is the New Orleans Saints kicker.
Indeed.
So not only are kickers people too, but in some cases they are everybody's favourite person. So yeah, you're absolutely right. This wasn't the most exciting game, but it was everything that you dream of with this game and more. The pageantry, the everything. It was beautiful. Then let me get this back up now. On Saturday
Tonight, isn't
evening,
it? It's a couple of nice games tonight. No.
just after, I think there is one tonight. Just after the Heisman ceremony kicked off, the LA Bowl wasn't exactly an exciting affair. I turned it off when Washington were about 1 billion points ahead.
Yeah, they were 20. They were
halftime.
24-3 at halftime, so it was pretty much donezo by that point.
And this is the thing with bowl games, right? Some of them, your New Year's Sixes, they're all
usually
they are your classic bowl games. They've been going on for 100 years, or maybe not quite that long, but they are serious 6. They are the ones that you take seriously. They're some of the ones you're more honoured to be invited to. Then you have ones like the Pop-Tart Bowl, which are there to exist on the basis of let's just have a boatload of fun, and let's
party bowl. Yeah,
the trophy is a toaster. Like that's.
Even the sponsors aren't particularly taking this one very seriously, so we don't expect the players to either. Usually they're played in nice locations as well, these ones as well, aren't they? So
that's the whole point of bowl season. Is it started out as an opportunity to take these cold weather teams down to somewhere warm. The first bowl game ever was Michigan Stanford, and it was an opportunity for Michigan to go down to California in January
and play a Rose Bowl
and play somewhere warm. And that's how it all kind of started.
You've got the was it the Salute to Veterans Bowl?
Yes,
was played in Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama, I think it was.
Yeah,
between
and Jacksonville State.
Troy, between Troy and Jacksonville State. So Jacksonville State won that one 17-13.
Yeah,
but,
and in about 15
The thing that struck me with the Washington game, sorry, Fletch, the thing that struck me with the Washington game was there's only 23,000 people there.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the SoFi Stadium.
Imagine how empty that would have been.
That
would have been like a home game for a Rams.
That's about as many Rams fans we tend to get. So I was getting there first. I was going to say before you try to chime in with your Niners shite.
Congratulations on, by the way, clinching a playoff position now, Sam.
Yeah, some of us have to.
Anyway, I'm not going to say what I was going to say there in the manner of how you did it. Yeah, that's the thing though. And one thing to remember with bowl season is most of these games. I explained it to someone the other day. I was like, imagine if the Community Shield was played after the season, and but there were about 10 Community Shields, and all of them were sponsored by something different, and no one bet it's a glorified friendly. Which,
Mm.
yes, you get a trophy at the end, but it's a glorified friendly. And I mean, even in
Because
this
it's
case,
basically a chance for everyone to have a day out or a weekend out or a time out in the sun and
somewhere for your fans to
start
go.
spring break early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some of them, it's the chance to, especially with like some of the players. Obviously, we've had like so many players already declare for the draft or go in the transfer portal. It gives those players that are going to stay the chance to prove themselves as well on the big stage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get a lot
It may
of
only be, yeah, it's only like say a friendly, but there's still going to be it's still contact football at the end of the day. They're still going to be making the hits. They're still going to be making the plays. So it's good for those players who maybe were potentially fringe players to kind of
yeah.
put their name forward, which I think is it's also a good thing as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
but
as you say,
also,
most of the players who are declaring for the draft often body swerve the bowls, don't they? Because they're like, oh,
yeah,
I got to get ready for pro day, I've got
Mm.
to get ready for this, one, and the other, and they don't want to
yeah,
run the
They don't
risk
want
of
to get
injuring,
injured.
which is,
Yeah.
it's on their livelihood. Totally get why they would do that.
yeah,
But it does, as you say, Sam, open the door for those walk-on fringe, second string, third string who are on the
Yeah.
cusp of, do I stick around? Do I go on the portal? Here's your chance to kind of say, hey, coach, I'm here. I
yeah.
can do this.
Well, if you're a senior as well, just that could be the last time you ever suit up and play football.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's your one last opportunity to play football with your mates.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
And as
suppose that's
well,
one of the things, isn't it? We've talked about it on the pod before about how there is no pickup league. Once you finish playing college, if you're not continuing, that's it. You're not putting no pads on ever again. That's it. That's
Yeah.
your last 10 years of your life is now over and your next phase starts. It's quite a drastic sort of
Essentially,
change.
yeah.
it's NFL, CFL, UFL, or XFL, or done.
Or
They're your
our
options.
showroom. Yeah.
Or the European League of Football.
Well,
And
yeah,
the
but
EFL.
Um, but what I'll say, one of the things I just wanted to kind of like you also think, yes, there's an opportunity for a combine. Yes, there are pro days, but if you are a G5 team, for example, and I've recently wrote an article for some good friends of ours over at the Touchdown, previewing the uh, Kennesaw State, Western Michigan, Myrtle Beach Bowl. As I said in there, the couple of players I'm looking at on both sides of the field, one of them is he's a senior. He's going to probably go to the draft, but he is a late day three pick. It is your
Mm.
last opportunity. And it's someone who like Gabriel Benyard, who plays for the Kennesaw State, who got taken out of the Conference USA Championship game halfway through with a concussion. This is his last opportunity to put some game film
Mm-hmm.
or
mm,
like get some game tape. And he got taken out in the championship game where you really want to put your tape on because it's not just putting tape on it saying, look, I can do this in a championship. I can do this
In
when
the
the
big
chips. I
game.
can do
Yeah.
this where it matters most. He gets the opportunity to put some down. So you think as well, some of them who might be going to the draft, you might look at some of them and say, here's your last opportunity to put some film down.
yeah, it could
And
be the difference between a day two and a day three pick, then, couldn't it?
or
Could
it could
be.
be the
Yeah.
difference between getting a phone call at 9 p.m. on the Saturday, or even being a UDFA and actually getting a phone
Mm.
call on draft day and having your name read out on stage. It's the difference between those kinds of things. Obviously, pro
And
days and combines,
those differences come with big zeros as well.
they do like massive zeros and guarantees as well, because UDFAs don't get the same guarantees as someone who's been drafted does. And you look, I think it was
Mm-hmm.
Lewis Reese Zammit last year when he signed with the Chiefs. There were certain guarantees he was no longer eligible for because he hadn't been drafted
Mm-hmm.
and hadn't
Mm.
gone through that thing. So it was like certain, not I don't I think it was insurance, but I'm pretty sure it came down to something similar to insurance or guarantees and whatnot with
guarantee
your
or injury
contracts.
guarantee or something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So these are massive opportunities for these players to put some stuff down. And if you don't think you go into the NFL, guess you might get a call from it off the CFL or off the UFL or off people like that. Anyway, so bowl games are important, and the only other game that happened on Saturday, which ended up being an amazing game, didn't look like it was going to be, but turned out to be an amazing game, was South Carolina State and Prairie View for the HBCU. Sorry, I always get confused with the C and the B. The HBCU National Championship unofficial in the Cricket Celebration Bowl. It was 21-0 to Prairie View at half time. It was 35-35 at halftime, and the 21 lead by 1 point lead, by the way, completely eradicated within half of the third quarter.
Yeah.
And South Carolina State win 40-38 in double overtime, four-time overtime, wasn't it?
So yeah,
Or time overtime, yeah.
Mental.
Chaos.
Mental.
With I think in the
Chaos.
second overtime, a game-winning field goal was missed as well,
Oh,
from memory, by a rookie kicker. Just brutal. The lad just pulled it.
yeah. Thanks.
bit like Ohio State.
Had to get it in there.
Say
Well
that
done,
again,
sir.
Sam. I
Well
don't
done.
think I quite heard you there. I just need you to repeat that one more time.
One more time.
Just like Ohio State.
The Ohio State. Let's get it right.
No, just at least they should be thankful that I'm calling them Ohio State and not just Ohio.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. Well, there's
Miami,
implications to that
Ohio.
right now. So,
Mhm.
moving on though, and I am literally about to turn my computer off. I don't really need it anymore. I've got everything I need on this screen because I am about to turn on the Staff DNA Cure Bowl, which kicks off in 9 minutes, and I do believe is available on the Zone. So I will be watching some football.
There's a fair few on the Zone at the moment, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, it's all
Right, so we got 5 minutes to wrap this up then. Okay.
I mean, all bowl games are available on DAZN. I have warned my sister-in-law because we're going to see the in-laws on Friday. I've told my sister-in-law I'm bringing the Fire Stick, and she will allow me to plug it in at 4 p.m. so I can watch Kennesaw State in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, and they will do nothing about it, and they will like it. But moving on to what is going on this weekend is the college football playoffs. And it's the first round,
some
and I
big,
do believe we need to start kind
tasty
of talking about
games.
them now.
We really,
what we're going to
really,
do,
really need to start talking about it.
what we're going to do is we're going to go in order of the actual games as they take place. If for whatever reason, Adam, you cannot stay for much longer, we will bump up the Oregon game for you, I promise. I won't actually force you to stay here, or force you to spend your whole time and not talk about Oregon. Starting off on Friday night / Saturday morning at 1 a.m., we have Alabama at Oklahoma. This is arguably, in my opinion, the best game in the first round. Sam will probably disagree with this one, as he will be hate watching the whole thing, or hate watching the highlights in the morning, because you don't think you're staying up till 4 in the morning for this one, are you, Sam?
Absolutely not.
You'll be hate watching the highlights. It's fine.
I'll be hate watching the highlights.
No,
absolutely fine.
What a tasty opener! I mean, even if it's the great thing about the seeding and stuff, to get the seeding of 8 and 9 close together, two teams that are really well matched, should be an absolute cracking game. We just talked about the Army Navy not being one for the purists. This game might be the opposite. This game might be the advert that if you wanted a game to advertise what college football's all about, this could be it. Love the fact, obviously, the new playoff structure, that this is being played at a campus, not in a neutral environment. So you'll also get the home field advantage. You'll also get the razzmatazz and everything of being at Oklahoma. Is it Oklahoma, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gaylord playing the Oklahoma Memorial
So
Stadium.
so you'll have the Sooners at home. So you'll have all of that. It won't be in a kind of neutral kind of NFL stadium, which takes away sometimes the sheer pageantry and passion and rivalry aspect. So I'm going to love that. This is going to be a cracker. Build it
Yeah.
all up. It'll be a dud now, of course. But
I was going to say it's one of those games where it's going to be built up and it's going to end up being like a 10-9.
9, yeah, 10-9 or something stupid,
I mean,
11-9, something.
If you remember watching the first round last year, because it worked out slightly differently, and I think last year it was you had to be a conference champion, and now it's just working off the top 4 seeds overall. One of the best things was in that first round, the home field advantage, and dare I say it, when the likes of Tennessee went to the shoe and played Ohio State, the atmosphere was insane. Insane last year. But Oregon hosted a game. No, you didn't host a game last year because
We
you
went
won the
straight to the
conference
Rose Bowl
championship.
and got our arse handed to us.
Yeah, you look at
Thanks for
Texas
reminding
host.
him.
Thanks, yeah, bring it up. Yeah, nice. Cheers. He's catching strays already before we even get to you.
It was they're just the home field advantages were incredible, and how often have any of these college teams been able to watch their team in December?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At their own stadium. When the stakes are as they are, when they're a night game as they are, just incredible. And a couple of the I guess not necessarily obviously they're not stats, but good place to find out where the world is at is to look at the betting odds. If you are not a betting person, that's fine. Don't place any money on it. We're just reading out the odds. If you are a betting person, there you go. All of these odds were correct as of, and obviously, by the way, I need to remind people, as I've been accused of this before, if you're a child, don't do it. Just don't at all.
Just don't.
Children
Just don't.
don't go near betting.
Children really shouldn't go anywhere near a betting site. Are these from our good friends over at Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover, or are these different betting sites?
They have not been sent over by our good friends over at Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover, unfortunately. I have had to pull these odds myself from BetMGM. They were correct as of yesterday. Alabama are 4-5. Oklahoma are 19-20. So neither team are even at 1-1 or above. The spread is Alabama Alabama are 1.5 favorites.
That's
And
interesting. On my app, it's got Oklahoma as 1.5 favorites.
this is what I want to say. This was BetMGM that I was going off, and this is what you're saying on BetMGM. And the over-under is 40.5. By the way, we are one thing. Other betting sites are available. We'll have slightly different odds, but other good betting sites are available. We are not in any way, shape, or form affiliated with BetMGM. I just don't have access to that other one because I'm not saying
you don't need it.
I'm not saying it.
I think it's going to be a really close game, isn't it? I mean, not the betting odds. I look at some of the advanced stats guys stuff, and Parker Fleming, Stats of War on Twitter. I like his stuff, and I think he's got Alabama 49% win probability versus 51 for Oklahoma. Projected points 21-20. So Oklahoma by a very fine margin there. They match up. Their stats match up so closely. It's going to be a really fine margin. I mean, if Bama cannot do anything stupid, like I think they did in the first fixture with turnovers and whatnot, I would think they would maybe just edge it. Oklahoma got such a good defense, but they don't really have that much, relatively speaking, on offense. So, really close, really tight game for me.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the offensive stats. Every single one of them, bar red zone efficiency, is in Alabama's favor, and pretty much every single stat on the defensive side is in Oklahoma's favor. So it is very much attack v defense this game. But that could benefit Oklahoma, because if you can get turnovers, which is probably one of, like say, Alabama's biggest weaknesses, it gives you good
shorter
field goals.
fields, good.
And like I say, if you can get in the red zone, their red zone is 100% efficient. So all they've got to do is, once they're in the red zone, they're fine. It's just
got to
getting
get there.
Has been the big issue.
Just get the defense to put them in there, and then they'll be fine.
One of the things though that gets me for Alabama, and it's something that's frustrated me for weeks, and we've said it on the pod, they can't run the ball. They just don't seem to be able to run the ball. And my worry, I say worry, like it's I'm quickening my boots and worry for Alabama. I'm not. Is if they can't get the run game going, a defense like Oklahoma's, which is one of the top defenses in the entire country, if you're going to go one-dimensional
know what you're going to
against
do.
them,
Yep.
if you're going to go one-dimensional, you're cooked. It's game over. Ty Simpson's fantastic. I absolutely love Ty Simpson, but he has no run help. He has no run game help. And you saw what happened last week when they played Georgia and they were one-dimensional against Kirby Smart, and they looked like not playoff worthy.
They look like that. They look like the team that got battered in week 1.
Yes, they did. They absolutely did, and it wasn't good enough. And I don't want to get into that.
No, and strength of schedule and everything else. When you look at losses and whatever else, I still think Alabama, the loss that Alabama had, even though it was week 1 and whatever else, should have counted a lot stronger against them, because we were shockingly bad this year. So the fact that we didn't, that loss didn't count more against Bama.
You weren't as bad as last year, to be fair.
No,
I mean, you
but
could add in
because
the
we had
fact
an easier
that
schedule.
I did some research yesterday, and I double checked all the the Power 4 championship game winners over the last 4 years. In the last 4 years, out of every Power 4 championship game, every single loser of that game has dropped anywhere between 1 to 3 playoff positions. Only one team in the last 4 years has lost the championship game and not dropped a single place, and that was Alabama this year. No, so I don't get any. I don't want to get into the conspiracy thing, because of it's not conducive to today. What's done is done. These are the playoffs. These are the teams that are in there. But for me, it all comes down onto whether Alabama can actually get that run game going. At least make that Oklahoma defense have to work.
Yeah, they're averaging 54 yards a game with their top running back of Jam Miller. He's only averaging 54 yards a game. Everyone else is averaging below 30. It's just not. Yeah, it's just not going to help. I mean, there's no standout runners really. I mean, even his averages. The average for the top 3 running backs is 4 yards a carry. Like you can't do anything when you look at the way Texas have been all year, and the way I've gone on about the fact our run game's been bloody awful. You just doesn't give you any. Although it doesn't matter how good your passing team is, if you can't use the run game to benefit or to help out the quarterback, and then allow him to open the game up, you're not going to win games, especially against top defenses like Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's it. It's as simple as that, isn't it? If they don't get that run game going, they become one-dimensional. Oklahoma will just feast, and it will be a turnover, bonanza.
Then saying that, the last team that they faced, that Oklahoma faced, that were one-dimensional, beat them. So, just saying, Texas have done it. I'm sure Alabama could.
Yeah.
And that's the joy. It could happen, right? And we're conjecturing and talking heads is what we're good at. But in the end, once the game starts, all bets are off.
The problem for Ty Simpson is when you're one-dimensional like that, if he falls behind and then he starts falling behind the chains, that you start taking risks, and then that's where that defense just rips you apart. You start
forcing it. If you're one-dimensional, but you're doing dink and dunks and you're getting 5 yards, screens and whatever else, you're moving the change. You're keeping to a game plan. Then it's less of a panic, I guess. But as you say, if they start to fall behind, start to get to second and long, third and long, then he's going to be forcing it. Then it's just yay, let's intercept him, let's get after him, and let's end up causing mayhem. But again,
Yeah.
it should be a cracker, and hopefully it lives up to its billing. Because as Sam said, games like this have been talked up before and ended up being disappointing.
The only thing is, Ty Simpson has a pretty good interception rate this year. He's only been intercepted 5 times this year. His biggest problem is fumbling the ball. He's fumbled more. I actually just saw this down and thought it was insane. Is the fact that he's fumbled the ball more times than he's been intercepted.
Wow. Is that because he's having to hold on to it for longer, I guess, right?
Possibly, but then still to fumble it 6 times and to be only intercepted 5 times, like it means his throwing accuracy is pretty damn good. He just can't keep hold of the ball when he's being chased, or so.
I think as well, though, one of the things with Ty Simpson is the likelihood is he's probably going to go to the NFL draft after this. It was only 6 weeks ago that he was being spoken about in Heisman contention. Not particularly loudly, but his name was being thrown around in the Heisman conversation. He needs, I think, more than just about any quarterback in this entire playoffs to put on tape being clutch, making those big throws, putting the team on his back where he needs to, and it starts against and one of the best places it starts is against Oklahoma. And if you can do that against what I said, because I said it, it's obviously true. One of the best defenses in the entirety of college football. And
if you can put a performance
NFL
up,
draft.
Again, he's playing for a day 2, day 3 thing, isn't he? So
the QB on the other side, John Mateer, is more of that sort of rushing quarterback, the one that gets out in the pocket well. Yeah. I mean, you look at his stats, he's 12 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. But he's also, his running ability is a lot better. He's had 130 attempts for 416 yards. The team's 3rd highest rusher. And most touchdowns for a running back, a running quarterback in this case. When the times I've watched him, he reminds me of that Gattuso meme of sometimes maybe good, sometimes
maybe shit,
maybe bad.
Yeah. And he very much is that, in the sense that some games he puts up, he stands up and he makes the plays and he looks really good, and then other games he just
tries too hard and
just messes it up. And I think if Alabama want a chance of potentially winning this game in terms of keeping Oklahoma out of, forcing them to be on their side of the ball defensive wise more to tire them out, they've got to get at Mateer and stop him making those run plays. They've got to close up the pocket and force him to throw the ball.
They've got their lane discipline has to be much, much better than it has been. They have to make sure that they don't open, let him.
Yeah, I mean, look what they did in week 1 against Castellanos, when they just basically let him do what he wanted. If they allow that to Mateer, he'll do the exact same thing, and that's when they'll start to struggle. And that's when it starts forcing Ty Simpson's hand to force things, and that's when mistakes happen.
Mistakes happen.
Yeah.
Slightly
if we look back at the past as early prediction of the future, the first game Oklahoma sacked Ty Simpson 4 times, and Mateer ended up on the ground twice. He got sacked twice. And that was a wild game in terms of the yards as well. So it'd be interesting to see what both teams learn from that and how they adjust.
Yeah, and as you say, when they met earlier in the season, both of these teams have evolved. Both of these teams have knocked the rust off, got better, stronger and whatever else. So, yeah, it should be interesting to see if they have learned from that and what they both have now coached into it after having the time to coach and get ready for what is, as you say, probably their biggest game. And this is it, right? You've got to go all in for this game. You can't think, get through this and get to the next round. This is this is the only game that matters now, isn't it?
It's going to be a
Yeah.
Bama revenge game as well, isn't it? They lost 23-21 in that game. So I think that's going to be on their mind, especially is to not only obviously to progress, but
Get one. Yeah.
Get
to
one
get
back.
one over back on. Yeah.
And the other thing, which we've already kind of mentioned, and I'm going to go up one slight tangent, the Cure Bowl. I forgot this from last year. Don't know why it never crossed my mind. Shout out to Old Dominion, who, because the Cure Bowl it's the staff DNA, it's all around health and like medical, like people who work in the medical field, medical professionals. And all the branding's pink, and all Old Dominion have put a pink Old Dominion logo on the helmet. All the players are wearing pink tape around the cleats, around their arms, around the all sorts. They're all wearing the normal white, blue, and look a bit like the Tennessee Titans road jerseys, but just decked out as well alongside that in a load of pink, and I think it's brilliant.
Nice. Good effort. Good effort.
It looks fantastic. Just seeing these little pink ankles running around. The other thing, sorry, that I was going to mention though on this game was we've already mentioned it, but it's how does that crowd play a part? How loud, and you can only imagine just how loud it is going to get if Alabama find themselves in third and short, third and
Oi.
long. Any of those third down situations, it's going to get nasty. It's going to get, they're not nasty, but it's going to get loud. And if by whatever if they end up in like a 4th and 1 and look like they're about to go for it,
Oh,
just the noise, the volume is going to be the decibel level on another planet.
yeah.
Great
And
way to start practicing the silent count.
Yeah, obviously oh yeah, get ready to start learning silent count now,
If
buddy.
they haven't, start those silent count practice
yeah.
early.
But Sam, do you have the college football playoff pick and thing that you wanted to do with us this now, or do you want us to submit it later on?
Yeah, we'll go through them now. Obviously, I'll have to get Nick's choices at some point, but yeah, we can go through who we want to win.
Who we want and who we think.
Well, yeah, who do you want and who do you think? Obviously, this will just be its own thing in terms of a college playoff prediction, so it's not part of the regular season.
I'm gonna go home win.
Stick with that. I'm gonna
So
stick
you're
with
taking the
Oklahoma.
Sooners.
I'm sorry, Sam. I'm Sooners as well.
Okay. Adam, who are you going to go for?
I'm going to take Alabama in a very low scoring game.
You contentious little bugger.
Well, I'm taking Bama as well, but not necessarily for
I
the
wonder
same
why.
same
Just
logic.
because you just don't want
Yeah.
Oklahoma to win it. Yeah.
No.
So
Same. I mean, I couldn't pick Alabama because I don't want them to win.
I mean, I'm not going to hold Z to any of this. I'm not going to write or note this down. But the over under is 40.5. So would you be saying under 40.5 in terms of points when you say a low scoring affair?
Well, I suppose when I say I'll probably be, I reckon like 21-20. So not low scoring as in
around
9,
that.
but 38 something or other.
Yeah, okay. So just somewhere around that mark in
Just
general.
under. Yeah.
Yeah, the over/under, they tend to know what they're doing, don't they? So it usually ends up being within 2 or 3 points of it. So yeah, I can't imagine it's going to be a 21-18, something like that. That neither team's going to get away because, as you said, it's offense against defense, and it's who comes out on top.
You watch and just like
65-59, something. Yeah,
you watch just some like
triple
that's
overtime madness. Yeah.
It's gonna
forget how to defend and just crazy offense.
You score, I score. You score, I score. And whoever ends up pick sixes, kickoff returns, the whole 9 yards, please.
Oh, we're going to have a shutout.
That's going to happen in one of the other games.
Oh, we're going to have a complete shutout at halftime. It's going to be one of the two. Like it'll be one of the two. I also got that weird feeling that
a shutout is possibly.
I get that feeling that it's going to be one of them, like the first half all 40 of the points, and all 41 or all 42 of the points will get scored in the first half, and then nothing for the second half. Or the other way round, it'll be a complete shutout first half, and then they'll switch something up, and then it'll just be lights out second. You'll have one of those
Yeah.
really annoying
Well, it
games
gets
just where
really cagey to start with. Yeah.
yeah. But there's the first one, and then you all get to go to sleep, spend the day on Saturday, doing whatever it is you do, which I would hope at 2 p.m. we'll be watching College Game Day as
My birthday. I'm just saying.
so okay, so Gary gets to watch College Game Day for his birthday. That's really, really cool. Um the
Great. I get to watch
yeah.
Miami.
And then at 5 p.m. UK time kickoff for Miami at Texas A&M. Now I know I can speak for Nick on this. He thinks Texas A&M are gonna win by a gajillion points. He's told me himself as good as. But this one's an interesting one. So if again going off some of the betting lines, Miami are 13-10, Texas A&M are 11-20. The spread is in Texas A&M's favor, 3.5, and the over under is 51.5. So it just a little bit of a higher scoring affair, 2 scores more than Alabama or Oklahoma. I this we I've just seen too much from Texas A&M to think anything other than a Texas A&M win here, and I don't have
Spanking.
the trust or faith in Miami and Carson Beck to get it done when the chips are down, and they
Nope.
need to get it done.
Yep.
We've seen Carson Beck when he has to put the chips down, and it never works out.
It tends to drop them.
Yeah, it hasn't worked out so far for him.
But if Miami did one,
Miami shouldn't even be there. Texas A&M should absolutely blow them out of the water.
right, and
Right, and again that Texas A&M being at Texas A&M, that is going to be horrendously loud.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Field will be bouncing.
so, but my question to you is, if Miami does want to stand a chance, how did he do it against Texas A&M? Because again, you're looking at a team where you have a good chunk of that defense is NFL level talent, and that offense has been working at a ridiculously high level on a good number of occasions this year. Don't forget they only lost one game in the SEC this year.
Mm-hmm.
What do Miami attack? How do Miami do it?
Well, the one thing as well, Marcel Reed has got an interception in him or two. So
Yep.
if you put pressure on him and he gets a bit wild and loose, there could be an opening there for Miami. I'm not sure how good A&M have been on the ground either. I think they've given up a fair amount of yards in some of their games. I mean, all their games. Look back at the games.
When we played them, we managed our only game where we had a rusher for over 100 yards all season.
Yeah, they have given up yards, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean their defense is one of the better defenses, but it reminds me it reminds me of the Rams. They give up a lot of yardage. They just don't give up a lot of points. And I think it's going to be a case of if Miami can get the running game going, then that's where it starts to shift because Texas A&M is so good at putting pressure on the quarterback. In terms of sort of, especially someone like a Carson Beck, he's not a runner. He's an old school pocket quarterback. The moment they start putting him under pressure, that's when he'll start making mistakes. If Miami want to stand a chance of winning this game, they've got to make sure the running game
out of his hand,
and they've got to get the ball out quick. And I think the way I see it is you've got to have a lot of very well schemed quick ball passes and screen plays because again, if you allow Carson Beck to get pressured, he will make mistakes.
Yeah.
The one thing that Miami have been good at this year is keeping Beck fairly clean. He's only had 9 sacks on the season. His completion rate is 74.7, which is good. But again, interceptions are a big killer for him. He's had 10 this year. And like I say, he's not exactly the most mobile quarterback. So for me, it's going to be a case of, can that Miami line keep the D line of Texas A&M out, and can they get the running game going? That's the key. I mean, obviously, in terms of passing, obviously we know that the big target that they're going to have for this year is going to be Malachi Tony. He's been their target. He's been his target in most games.
Yeah.
So that defense just got to lock him up, because he's been brilliant this year.
Him or nothing, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's had 970 yards this year, 108 targets. The next person in terms of targets is 50% less. He's only had 54 targets, which is Keelan Marion. So yeah, it's going to be a case of you need to keep him upright, and I mean, Miami have got a very good O-line. I mean, they've got that. Is it Muwaga? I can't pronounce his name, but he's essentially been lined up to potentially be a top 10 draft pick. So, they've got the O-line to keep him upright, and I think that's what's kind of benefited Beck. But the problem is that Texas A&M's D-line is ferocious, and they will try. They will get at him at some point. So as long as they can keep giving him time to make throws and then get the running game going, that's their way in. And I think they've just got to look at what Texas did, what we did to them.
You're giving them the blueprint.
Yeah.
The only difference is I don't think Miami's defense
can hang
is necessarily good enough to keep up. I think that's the difference was Texas's defense is a very good defense, and they managed to put pressure on. I'm not sure Miami have the same level, and that could be their undoing in terms of they just can't sustain pressures.
Yeah,
they
could possibly hang with them for a half or so, but then will eventually just tire, and then
Yeah. I'm just really interested to see what Carson Beck brings to the table, because he's had the shocker last year. He's had this, he moved for big money. All the eyeballs will be on him. He has to deliver. It's proper shut-up time for him. So I'm really interested to see what kind of Carson Beck turns up.
Because realistically, this is his last year, isn't it, in college?
Yeah.
He's going to be likely going to be. Yeah, so he's going to be declaring.
It's a third day 3 player, right? We're not.
But again, if he can get a win over Texas A&M and he's the guy that puts the team on the back, we start then looking at Carson Beck more like the old Carson Beck, probably from a couple of years ago. So this is where he needs to prove that he can hang with the big guys now, because this is like I say, it's put up or shut up. So he's got to, if he wants to be seen as a legitimate contender as a starting quarterback for the NFL, he's got to prove it in a game like this. If they go on and lose, but he does everything to the best of his ability, fair enough. He's gonna get drafted somewhere. But if he doesn't come up into this game, and if he comes in like he did last year, he's going to fail.
Shits the bed. Yeah, he's gonna tank, isn't he?
Well, I want to say he didn't even.
It's almost like a no-win for him, isn't it?
He didn't even get a shot at the playoffs last year because he was injured before the playoffs even started, didn't he? So this is also his. A lot was said about. I don't know whether he'd be thinking about it this way or not, but a lot was said about him last year going into the playoffs, and can he get it done with Georgia? And he didn't even get the shot to play in the playoffs. So this is his. This is his only ever shot at going to a playoffs. And look, last year, I'm not saying much would have happened differently last year, but he can do can he walk away from this, or may want to walk away from this, being able to at least say, look, if I was in that Georgia team last year, we'd have beat Notre Dame, or it would have been a much closer game against Notre Dame. But this is his only shot, and we never got a look at him last year in the playoffs.
I think the big thing as well is obviously all the I don't want to say controversy, but all of the is sort of controversy in terms of the college playoff selection, the Miami, Alabama, Notre Dame debacle that everyone banged on about. At the end of the day, if Miami go and win this game, then it justifies their inclusion within the college playoff for a start. And if it's down to the fact that Carson Beck is the guy who is the reason why they win the game, again, it's sort of like for him a bit of a
redemption story, isn't it?
Redemption arc, and that idea of "I told you so, Georgia."
Yeah, the pre-game speech writes itself, doesn't it? For that Miami locker room.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've done more than enough on Miami, Texas A&M. I don't feel like
who do we have to win this game?
Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So
We're just giving Miami, we're just giving Carson Beck all the flowers we could possibly give him, but we're just like, no, he's got little to no chance of actually pulling it off.
There's a massive difference between saying this is what he needs to do and saying he will do it.
Yeah.
And we've said this is what he needs to do. But I don't. I'd be very surprised if many of us thought he could do the things he needs to do.
Interestingly, the advanced stats I got here have got a 55% win probability for Miami.
Really?
Projected points 28 against 25.
Bloody hell.
Based on obviously quality of possession, quality of drive, all that kind of stuff. But I get that. I think for me, just being in Kyle Field, just what we've seen of A&M, some of the challenges Miami have had, I just think beats what the paper says.
Yeah,
I think A&M are going to be angry that they didn't get into the bowl game. They're going to be angry that they lost that Texas game, and they're going to want to prove themselves now because they didn't get the chance to. They would believe they should have been the team that were in that SEC championship game. So I think it's going to be
on their shoulder. So yeah, I think
losing to your rivals, or losing to your rivals and having your rivals knock you out of the SEC championship, and drop you into the fact you have to play this week, because that's the only reason they have to play this week because of us. Otherwise, they would have been in the top 4 seed, so they would have had a bye. So again,
and with an undefeated regular season as well. And the only reason that they don't have an undefeated regular season, obviously, championship game pending.
That counts for nothing. Undefeated regular seasons counts for nothing in a college football committee.
Oh yeah,
we know
that. I mean, a little bit of pride.
Yeah, but it's more for the team, isn't it?
Pride.
It's more for the team that they can say they've gone a whole season unbeaten, and I think as well it was the manner in which they lost that game as well. It wasn't as if they were overly in it for a lot of the game. They kind of shot themselves in the foot fairly early. So I think that's going to play a massive part as well.
Point to prove time. Yep.
Yeah, it's just everything sort of amalgamates within that. Again, for the A&M, the pre-game speech in the locker room kind of speaks for itself. You got embarrassed a couple of weeks ago, and now it's time to foot on throat moment against Miami, who shouldn't even be here anyway. That's the line they can go with. So
these guys don't deserve to be
GPT for that one, does he?
No. These guys don't even deserve to be suiting up today. Let's go out and batter them, and let's get on a run, and let's go and take it, etc., etc. It's all there for everybody.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the next game I think is going to be a rather one-sided.
Next up, here 8:30 p.m. UK time on Saturday. Tulane at Ole Miss. Tulane are 11-2 with BetMGM, and Ole Miss are 1-10. So just a reminder that if you put £10 on this game, you will get £11 back if you include your bet back. And Ole Miss win, obviously. The spread is Ole Miss by 18 points, and the over-under is 55. So I believe if you look at the fact that, well, it's only an 18-point spread, and the over-under is 4 points higher than Texas A&M, they at least believe that Tulane might put some points up. They believe some points will be put up by Tulane, which I would hope so. Ole Miss, obviously, without the head coach that got them to this point, he is now in Louisiana and will be watching them from home, and you can guarantee he will be tweeting all game about how amazingly proud he is of all his boys. They will be led by their brand new head coach and former defensive coordinator. I mean, what needs to be said of, do Tulane stand any chance?
They've got a box. They've got a fighter's chance, right? They've got a chance. They've got there. If they play their game and mistake free, and Ole Miss go into it after the whole coach has left and whatever else, maybe they might catch them on an off day.
I think what would be interesting is a team like Tulane. They're going to go into this game with the attitude, like it's going to be the underdog attitude. No one's expecting us to win this game. No one's even expecting us to really lay a glove on Ole Miss. Let's go out, fast start, catch them off guard, put up a couple of touchdowns, and just see where the chips lie and see what happens. Because at the end of the day, they're going to have to go into Valt Hemingway Stadium. It's going to be, again, it's going to be loud. It's going to be, especially with all the issues that have gone on before this and that. It's going to be a tough game, but they're going in with they've got nothing to lose. They've got, they've made the playoffs. They're a group of, group 4, the group 5 team. They can show that they can put up points. They've just got to enjoy the moment, really. And you never know. Crazy things happen in college football. You could, Tulane are a good team. They've got good offensive pieces. They've got good defensive pieces. And I think that they can cause headaches. The problem is that Ole Miss are Ole Miss.
Ole Miss are just Ole Miss, right? That's the tough bit. As I say, a fighter's chance. Go in, maybe catch them cold, hit them with a couple of big shots, shake them a bit. Maybe the loss of the coach. Maybe they come in complacent. Maybe. That's it. If they go in and they're shell shocked and they're like, "Oh, we're in a bowl game! Oh my god!" Ole Miss will absolutely roll them.
They need to treat it like Florida State treated the Alabama game. Just go in and just
shit or bust. What are you going to to lose? What have you got to lose here?
Yeah. You have to remember what got them to this point in the first place. Just good, clean plays, just shifting forward. And who knows what can happen in that first quarter? You get your noses in front, everyone starts getting a bit edgy.
Yeah, crowd get a bit, not angsty because of the recent news. Yeah.
You think?
And again, they've got a quarterback who's very good on the ground. He's been good-ish in the air, but on the ground he's been really good. And I don't think that Ole Miss have played too many teams. I mean, I'd have to go back and check. I don't think they've played too many teams where the quarterback has been extremely sort of mobile. And that could play a big part. Well, if your team's not used to playing against a mobile quarterback, we've seen it before where quarterbacks who are able to get out of the pocket and make big plays on the ground can surprise teams. So again, that could be a potential factor that could help Tulane.
Well, they've played against Lagway, they've played against Lenoris Sellers, they've played against to be fair, they played against Tulane this year. They played Tulane in week 4, where they won 45 to 10.
Yeah.
And it's like they
And the one thing
played.
they did was they stopped Getzlaff from running. So
I was gonna say, yeah, if have they played a quarterback like this who can run? Well, yes, because they played this quarterback who can
well,
run.
that was it. I
They
didn't
did.
know because I
No,
didn't
no,
check.
no.
So
I know. I'm just winding you up, but like they've played a number of quarterbacks who can escape the pocket, and again, not just to mention Lagway, to mention Lanaris Sellers, and as we previously mentioned, they've played. Why is his name escaping my head? Oklahoma. John
Ret,
Matei.
oh,
Um,
Mattia,
who
Yeah.
has, as you've already said, they has a good ability to escape the pocket, evade pressure, and get plays going with his legs. So, and they won that game as well. They won that game 34-26. So
yeah.
there lies the question. I think the question obviously doesn't come into play whether they can deal with Tulane, because not only can they do it, they have done it. The
They've done
question
it.
comes
Yeah.
into play is what Gary was saying, and it's what's the mood going into the game? How are you preparing for the game? And that's both sides of the ball, right? And both sides. So that's Ole Miss. How are you dealing with the head coach change? How are the players feeling? Are they coming in with the chip on the shoulder to show Lane Kiffin, we did it. We were the ones who got us to this position. You just had a headset on. Obviously not quite like that much, but obviously they want to show that it's them. They were the reason that they are so good. Tulane will want to come into it, and Jake Retzlaff will, and they'll want to, are they going to get over? Are they going to play the occasion instead of the game? You want to play the game, don't play the occasion, play the game. Are they going to come out and want to try and play the game differently as well and attack it differently? And at the end of the day, they've got tape on Ole Miss. They know what the players are good at. They know what didn't work against them last time. That's where I think it's
Like I
going to
say,
be a
that's
really
where the
interesting one.
it's where the potential, I suppose, complacency comes in for Ole Miss as well, as they know they've already done this. They've already had a 35 points win over them. They know that what they can do to beat them, and
Yeah.
it is that element can come into it. Again, we've seen it in college football. So
The
Seen it
one
this
other
season with
point I
teams.
think that goes along head coaches is Tulane's head coach is about to leave,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they've both had the same
play one
problem.
last time for their coach.
Their head coach has taken another job this offseason. The difference being that Lane Kiffin's no longer around and John Sumrall is staying till the season's over. And he made the comment the other week that he's got 2 jobs, 2 phones, and 2 hours of sleep, right? And like fair play, and he's done all this lovely thing. He's donated like 100 grand to the NIL collective, and he's trying to do this thing where he leaves on good terms as much as possible. And how does he prepare for the game? He's got 2 jobs. How is he preparing for the game? How well is he preparing for the game?
Yeah.
How much of that 2 jobs is he doing? Is he doing 80% Tulane, 20% Florida? Is it the other way around? And that's going to be, from my perspective, that's really interesting to see, is how well prepped they are from John Sumrall's point of view, who's doing 2 jobs right now.
Yeah, it all just seems too much, if I'm honest. I think there's just too many factors there
Too
for
much. I
Tulane
mean,
to get anything out of
But
this.
this comes back to our original comment about should coaches be allowed to be poached before the season ends? Because this is a perfect example of where a team's got into the college football playoff, their head coach is leaving. There is the idea that there's the thought that he is essentially doing 2 jobs. He may not have 100% put into Tulane. I'm sure he's doing a massive part of it to make sure he finishes Tulane off well. But we're in a situation where both of these head coaches, one of which is no longer there, one of which is leaving, and to a certain degree, it sort of devalues the game a bit, because if Tulane lose, head coach is gone. What does he care?
mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, he's then just going to go, oh well, we didn't do
I got
what
you there. Hey, I
yeah,
got
you there. We didn't think we were going to win. See you later. I'm off to Florida. It needs to be looked, and I know that things happen in game and stuff like that. So in any other sport, in things like that are normal. But yeah, I just think it's unfair on a team like Tulane, where it's not guaranteed that they're going to be making playoff games, and this is their big opportunity, and they're basically semi going to lose out.
Semi hamstrung, aren't they? They're being hamstrung by.
You kind of get the feeling it's a half decent championship side have been drawn against Arsenal away in the FA Cup.
Exactly that.
And
yeah,
like
as analogies go, it can't. Yeah, it's pretty much one of those FA Cup draws.
And their head coach is about to head off to Everton or something like that.
Yeah. Just accepted the job at Brighton, and now, but he's just said, no, I'll get us through the FA Cup third round.
Everton is closer for Florida.
Yeah. Well, historically good right now. Let's face it, they're not great. And your favourite team's pretty much biggest rival. I think. Listen, I'm sold on
it all sums up
Florida.
It's Everton. Yeah, Everton is Florida.
Then had the blue in. Well,
however,
there is the small fact of there is another game.
Fact of one other game. The reason that Adam has been sat here listening to waffle on for the last 2 hours.
Exactly like this.
I'm assuming we're all going for Ole Miss, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's an Ole Miss clean sweep.
I thought so. I just wanted to make sure.
Just for the record. Yeah.
And the last game of the first round is James Madison at Oregon. And like I said, this is a game that much like this, and as my new favourite account on social media, JMU, would report that, look, I give Oregon a fighting chance in this one. And I would think that Oregon can at least make the first half close and see where it goes. What do you think, though, Adam?
Well, firstly, the JMU Twitter game has been awesome. So
fair play to them.
Well done. Fair play to them for that. Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to the Tulane discussion, isn't it? In terms of underdog, do we take the eye off the ball? Can they get ahead? Versus every statistic telling you that Oregon should handle these guys. So back to the advanced stats, I think we got a win probability of 75% for Oregon.
It's almost like mercy rules should be invoked in this. It's almost what everyone's saying, isn't it?
So there's a 21, the -21 for Oregon. You've got a three score.
Sure.
Swing.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've got some players coming back, so it could be, without taking your eye off the ball and looking too far ahead, we've got some players coming back, in the wide receiver room. Maybe there's a chance just to blood some of those, rotate a little bit, depending on how the game goes. But I think the key for Oregon is just get ahead early, get any question marks dealt with, and then if you want to rotate in and out, maybe give
some of your second, third stringers.
Protect Dante more. I think JMU, when I was looking at it, they've got one guy, I think Wayne Knight there. Is he the running back, I believe?
Yeah, running
back who's quite handy. I think he's got over 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
everything seems to go through him. But I fancy our defensive line to brick that wall shut, to take that weapon away. So I can't see too many issues. I think we've got a good secondary. We can just overload the box, just sit back and just deal with everything that comes our way. We should have the weapons to be able to do that. If we take it seriously, if we don't get complacent. I think it's supposed to be pissing down in Oregon on Saturday as well, on Saturday. So that could be a factor, but we've dealt with rain as well. as a commentator said during the year, one of our games, can't remember which, I think it was the Iowa game, ducks like water. So we'll see if that holds.
Yep. And you've
I
got to
mean,
be used to it in Oregon, right? Surely it rains 79, 80% of the time anyway.
Well, as we always say before, the announcer says before the beginning of the games, it never rains at Autzen. It obviously rains at Autzen all the time.
All the time.
But yeah, so we are used to a little bit of rain up there. Um,
We've
so yeah,
I mean, you
it's
look
one
at
of
the
those.
teams that
I
you.
think this game and the Tulane game, it's great that we open this up to the G5 teams and we have that variety. We get the magic of competition. That's all those FA Cup analogies we were just talking about. You just don't want them to get blown out all the time. You want
Yeah.
these games to look a little bit competitive. Otherwise, we need to think about what we're doing here. And I hope that it is a good game. You want to see good competitive games. I want Oregon players to be involved in good competitive games, especially again without looking too far ahead. What might come next if they do win that game? You need the batteries running fully. So yeah, let's hope it's reasonably competitive.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's as you say, it's got that magic of the FA Cup feel to it.
Yeah, yeah,
It you just don't want what happened to TCU a few seasons back, where it just becomes an absolute, shambles blowout, and everyone's like, "Oh, why are they even here? Why did we even give the, G5 any space? Because this is,
I was
not
just,
competitive."
I was just having a look. Obviously, you mentioned that obviously JMU's biggest, so his weapon in this game is Knight. Looking at, I mean, in all fairness, Oregon haven't faced, uh, you know, you look at some of the better teams that they faced, they've not been exactly run first teams, but still, all the ones where they have, when they played Indiana, yes, they lost, or USC or Iowa, when they've come up against good running backs, they've kept them to below the average of what they've got all season.
yeah,
That's a big part of, especially if you're looking at a team like JMU where they have their main weapon is a running back. And, if you can keep them below the average, usually it's going to win. Well, in most cases, it wins you the game. So I
Mhm.
think it's, if you can keep Knight to under 100 yards, which again, you would expect them to. I mean, GMU, there's, as good as they've been this year, with no disrespect to JMU, they've not played any huge teams.
Yeah.
It's one thing running against, you know, Sunbelt defenses and such. It's another thing running against Oregon's defense. So it's a lot different. But like I said, I just hope it's, even if it's just a competitive half, like just be in the game as long as you can be. If Oregon go on and then blow you out of the water, well, at least you can say you deserve to be there and you've proven that you deserve to be there,
Yeah.
in the sense of you've put up a fight, you've kept yourself in the game for as long as you can. It then just becomes a case of which team has the individual strengths, and then all that does is it just proves that these group of four teams with a little bit of extra funding, a little bit of extra support in the draft portals and things like that becomes more of an attractive option. You then
yeah,
start to see a closing of the gap. Well, in an ideal world.
I mean,
yeah. No, definitely. That's where you'd hope it would head.
you say this as well though, about like making it, and about who they've played. Now, number one, how dare you disrespect the Louisiana Raging Cajuns like that, Sam? If everyone on this podcast, I thought better of you for disrespecting the Louisiana
Well,
Raging Cajuns like that. But also,
unfortunately, they've not been great this year.
that is true. But James Madison have lost one game all year so far. That only game was their only Power Four opponent, which was Louisville, right? They lost 28-14. And if you look at that, if you look at and say 28-14, now I know for a fact that 95% of people who are talking about JMU right now not being in the playoffs have seen the scoreline. None of them have watched the game. Maybe a couple of them have looked at the box score. I watched a good chunk of that game. 28-14 does JMU no justice in the end of it. They were beating Louisiana for a good little while, and at halftime they were winning 7-6. They played some very very good football, which had them tying going into the fourth quarter, and Louisville just got a couple of quick touchdowns. They hung around all game with, granted, Louisville, who aren't the best of the ACC outfits, but let's not pretend. That's one thing I don't want anyone pretending that JMU have not tested themselves or put up a good fight against Power Four opponents this year, because they bloody have, right? And absolutely fair play to them. I don't think they're going to. There's a massive difference as well, I think, between being a kind of lying down, getting on your belly, and going into the dog submission pose and going, just, leave me alone, don't. Um, and getting fairly beat in just about every phase of the game. I don't think JMU were going to lie down, roll around, and say, please, 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 please don't hurt me. I think Oregon are going to fairly beat them all over the field. I think receivers are going to win just about it. The majority of routes. I think running backs are going to break just about every hole that they can find. That's not to say that JMU will not put up a bloody good fight and try and make every yard that Oregon get as tough as possible. They will go and make
That's all
every
they
yard
can
as
do.
tough
I
as
mean, that's
it's
possible.
all they've
still
got, right?
it's still I think that it's more the fact that, and it's, as I sort of said, they're gonna keep if they can keep themselves at least within the game for a good chunk of the game, then it just shows how how well they
Yeah.
can do against these teams. But at the end of the day, they still lost that game, and they gave up 14 points in the final quarter.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between Power Four teams and Group of Five teams, is that they can't always sustain that level of intensity and ability
Oh yeah.
against those bigger teams, and that's what
And this
I'm
is a
trying to say
big
is that
game. This is
it's
a big
not,
game
you know,
against a big team.
Louisville are a very solid team, but we're talking about Oregon, who are a step above that as well.
Yeah.
And I
know
think
Oregon
this
are
is the
about 3
difference.
steps
Is
above that.
but it's this is the point. Is you're coming up against someone who's even better, and I just think in terms of, especially from a JMU perspective, and a college football playoff perspective, they need to prove that they can keep up with them for at least a half, is what I'm saying, because otherwise that's when we start to see the questions of, well,
Why do we bother?
why
Why
were
even here?
JMU in it when we could have had Texas, we could have had
Duke, we could have
no
had
one,
the
no one's
ACC.
saying
there, we
Texas
could
ain't
have
got
had
context,
more.
Sam.
No.
I'm only messing.
People were talking about Texas being in there, so more than Michigan. So.
More than the
Steve Sack,
ACC champion.
I'm only messing. I think, but
that's
it.
that would have been that's going to be then the conversations, isn't it? If they get blown out very early doors, the question will be, why are we allowing these teams in? Because we could have had X and Y in, and that's I would rather see. I still think Group of Four should be given the opportunity to be in these positions.
Yeah,
but I think if James Madison, even if they can somehow go in at half time, either
within a
level
score,
or with a lead,
yeah,
or within a score, I think that just shows that they deserve to be there, and that's what I want to see. End of the day, they probably will end up losing the game quite comfortably, but as long as they are in it by half time, even within a score, give Oregon some problems. It'll just be a good thing for them and a good thing for Group of Four teams.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As a side note, what I didn't realize, I saw today, is that some of our redshirt players are actually available for this game, because apparently the redshirting concept
play only
season.
for regular season, so you can actually play now in the playoffs and it not count against your eligibility. Yeah.
So we may actually see Mackay Hughes on the field. He redshirted for us earlier because he just wasn't getting the game time. I think he played less than he obviously did play less than 4 games. So that'd be quite nice just to see if he gets a run out. We haven't seen.
And again, as we've just said, there are 2 ways this could work out. If, as Sam says, JMU keep it close for a half, then unlikely to see those red shirts. The other option is, if Oregon absolutely steamroller it the second half, you may well see an awful lot of red shirts and walk-ons and everybody else.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Um,
that's gonna be the interesting part, isn't it? Again, it is whether you
Yeah.
get at some point some of that rotation and whether that affects the spread, by the way, and whether the teams cover the spread. And to kind of start wrapping this up, um, the betting props for this game, James Madison are 9-1. Oregon are 1-25. 1 to
Lord of mercy.
25. The spread is Oregon 21.5 and the over under is 50.5. So not only is there a bigger spread, but the over under is 5 points less than Tulane. So you would have essentially consider this to be much more of a blowout than Tulane Ole
mhm.
Miss. Um, which again,
They make it
like
out that it's going to be something like a 35. No, yeah, like a 35-7, something like
yeah,
that.
Yeah, something
it's
along those lines.
betting lines would have you around that kind of around that general area. A 35-14, I think actually would be
Yeah,
that'd get you
35.
to
35.
49, which would pretty much bang on you on there on the 50.5, very, very close. So I
Yeah.
think that's kind of where we're at, I think, um with these betting props, and it's not going to be you wouldn't have it to be particularly close. But again, I stand with our boys at JMU report, and I think Oregon can give it a really nice try.
Yeah. I
Do
think they
do our
can
best.
they can give us a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm guessing that it's going to be Oregon picks all
yes,
along for all of us.
yes.
So we're all going with Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting. So, just on that, what would be the four-way accumulator if we
Not a
went
lot of money.
Oklahoma? Oh, not a lot
Yeah,
of
because
money.
because
Oregon, Ole
because
Miss,
because Oregon and Ole Miss are like 11, 1 to 11 and 1
one
to
to 10
25.
or 1 to 25. It'd just like be nothing, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Um, I
I mean,
will
I
double
can quickly
check
throw one together.
Just for giggles.
on. I won't build that. I'll double check the bracket though. Um, nope, that's the NFL. That's not going to do us very good right here, is it? Um, if I know Adam, you've said Alabama to take the game, and I'm almost certain. I'm not certain who would take it, but so far we're on 50-50 Bama, Oklahoma, am I right? Because Sam, you also said
Yeah,
Alabama.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
If that was the case, then we've
if you
got, depending on Nick and what he says, either Alabama or Oklahoma, they'll go on to play Indiana. As is
Yep.
the
yeah,
consensus pod wide right now, JMU versus Oregon. The quarterfinal would be Texas Tech versus Oregon.
yeah.
That's a fun
Yep.
game.
Mm.
Going
We'll have
over to
Adam
the
back
other
on for
side,
next time.
going over to the other side of the bracket, a Texas A&M win would have Texas A&M versus Ohio State. And finally, an Ole Miss win would see Ole Miss versus Georgia. So we'll see.
And in the nicest possible way, and in saying all the nice things that we've said about Tulane and JMU and stuff like that. Those are the games you want in the next round,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You want to see those. You don't want to see Tulane versus Georgia because that's Oh, come
But
on.
bad things will happen if
That's
you have that.
bad pain. That's going to be pain. That's not going to be a good experience for Tulane. Having a run out in this week. Yeah, they've got a
Mm.
fighting chance. You just know that they'd give everything. If they did get through, they'd have given everything, and then they'd go into Georgia and get absolutely rinsed by 70 or something, and it would be an embarrassing end to those players' careers and all that stuff that we talked about. So
Yeah.
yeah, in the
That's
nicest
not
possible
what
way.
the Sugar Bowl is for, is
No,
it? That's what the first round is for.
yeah,
Yeah. And I think some of them, there'll be people who are going home that night. Your seniors are going home that night, getting ready to leave college. And then a lot of them who probably will not be going on to the NFL will be moving on in their careers and saying, I played Georgia last year,
I
you
don't
know.
know. I don't
Got
know.
absolute. I played Ohio State. I got
Got
absolutely
trounced.
cooked by Gunnar Stockton, but I played against him in the
Mm.
I laid a
playoffs.
glove on him. I laid a glove
Yeah.
on him.
I got to touch him. You know, I've not washed my hands in. I got to touch him though. So yeah, but no, you're right, and this is it. Chances are it will level itself out, and like you said, I think the only thing we really want and we can realistically hope for as look at we've been advocates for the G5 representation on this podcast. We have been advocates for the G5 representation and for them to get a fair shout. You
Yep.
just what again? You other than James Madison, because obviously we want you, Adam, to have a nice early night on Saturday. Don't have to go to. You're not worrying at 2 a.m. thinking, "Oh God, are we gonna blow this to?"
Yeah.
We want you to have a nice early and relaxed night. You want Tulane, however, to put up a fight and to
Yeah.
not have people. You don't want Paul Feinbaum walking out and going, "I told you so." You don't want Joel Klatt
Mhm.
walking around going, "I told you so." We don't want
Yeah.
any of that. Um,
No,
and I
absolutely
think
not. Not
the
really.
next.
However, sorry, mate, just to jump, using the analogies we've talked about the FA Cups and whatever else, it's very much like the old, I don't know how rugby orientated some of you guys are, but it's very much like the old Six Nations when Italy turned up. They got battered for a long time, but they got better and they got
Mm.
better and they got better. And then they started winning and then they started winning a few games and now they're a really competitive team. That's kind of the idea, I think, for the broadening of the playoffs and getting the G5 in. You are going to have to just take some pain in the first few years whilst that golf in class is still there. But hopefully it closes up with
But
more
it,
experience.
it proves that going to a G5 school is a legitimate path to the
Yep.
playoffs.
Yep.
If you're one of those recruits, you don't have to go to just the P4 team. So that's good, and that will just grow, and you'll get more collection of that talent in those schools, and who knows
Yep.
what will
Spread
happen.
the talent around. The money will get spread
Yeah,
around a little bit more. The
yeah,
game just gets better all round. That's what we want.
Well, obviously, we're
yeah.
going to talk about the calendar in the off season, and we're going to fix the calendar because that's our off season thing.
Well, we fixed the conferences
Is
last time round, didn't
I'm
we?
gonna
I
say
mean,
we
we fixed
did,
the whole of NCAA, so
and we
they didn't
talked
listen.
to Greg Sankey and all that. They call me up and they're like, Fletch, we need to know how everyone wants to know how the Brits would do it, right? That's what we want. We want to know how
Yeah.
the Brits would do it.
There's some relegation involved in some of
Why
these
we
conferences.
need British men's input. We need British men's input because obviously that's what they really, really want. We're not shoehorning on this. This is
Mhm.
being specifically requested by Greg Sankey. Um, I think
Well,
I've
they've
heard
asked Cy in
maybe.
the touchdown and Ollie,
Um,
but then we're just jumping on the bandwagon, right?
yeah. Um, the we'll fix the calendar. And another thing I do want to kind of pose is if this is the case, right? I mean, if both JMU and Tulane put up a fight, and it's even if they both lose, but it's within a couple of scores and all that sort of stuff, maybe you can walk away and go, okay, it is what it is. We'll deal with it. But there is
Yeah.
the high potential that if they do get blown out by 3-4 scores each, you walk away thinking, oh God, what are we doing? And could this open the door for a further split between the G5 and P4 and have a G5 playoff
Mhm.
instead
Yeah.
of
But
a
again,
a
yeah.
playoff where the G5 get an invite?
Yeah, but will that close that gap that we just talked about, or will it then, be even more of a split of us and them? Yeah.
But I
Should be
think
discussed at a later date.
yeah, so I want to say this will be discussed at a later date because I have a follow-up question to that, but then I don't want to get into that now because not the time.
It's 11 o'clock. We need
Um,
to go to bed.
so with this, I will say that if you listen to Hurdle the Line, there will be no Hurdle the Line episode out tomorrow, due to the fact that I am away, Sam is away, um, and we only
I
had
can't do it
oh
anytime.
no, actually that's a lie. There will be something out. Carl is doing something on his own, um, shout out to him because like
Trusting him
otherwise,
to do it on his own. Whew.
I didn't say I was trusting him. He said he was going to do it, and I just said fine. Um, so I didn't know what we were doing. Um, me and Mrs. Fletcher are off for a spa night tomorrow night, which is really, really nice.
Very nice.
She said, "Do you want to go out on
we're
Thursday
taking the
night?"
kid on. Yeah.
She said, "Do you want to go out on Thursday and get a facial?" And I said, "Yeah." And now I found out we're going to a spa night, and I was a bit confused and not really
Bit
sure what went
different,
down.
not the kind of thing.
Um,
We're
yeah.
taking the kid to Polar Express. So
Oh,
Nice.
nice. But we are, yeah.
not,
So
not
there will
the
be.
actual Polar Express.
Not the actual one. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, just the one that's in Yorkshire.
right, okay. But there will be an episode of Hurdle the Line this week. It will not feature Sam or myself. It will just feature Carl. So enter at your own peril. There will be the review episode of Hurdle the Line, hopefully out on Tuesday morning. There will be an episode of College Football UK out next week. I don't know what day, but there will be one. Please check out our social media for updates on that one. And as always, join our Discord, follow us on social media, and a huge thank you to our guest, Adam, for joining us. And we will see you, well, officially, we will all see you after Christmas and New Year. No, just before,
Yeah.
after Christmas, just before New Year.
Somewhere in the middle. Happy Christmas,
Somewhere
everybody.
Happy Christmas.
Go Ducks.
Whack, 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 whack.